Hi, I'm Ashton, and today I wanted to join in on the Pride Rewind tag. This was started by Jackson Bird, who is a fellow transmasculine content creator on this website. I'm going to link his video on this in the description, as well as some of the other people that have done this tag that I've watched and really enjoyed. Nobody tagged me, but one of you asked me to do this in the comments, and I was like, that's good enough, right? It's not Pride Month anymore, but Pride in my city isn't till mid-August, and I am trans and gay all year round, so here we are. It's only 6 questions, but I tend to ramble, so this might be a kinda long video anyway. Number 1, how do you identify? There are a lot of things that I identify as, so we're gonna do gender first and then sexuality. Gender-wise, I consider myself a non-binary trans man, non-binary trans boy, trans-masculine person, or just non-binary. I also don't mind the term demi-boy, as it kind of encapsulates the non-binary part of my identity and the more masculine part, but I also feel like that wouldn't last long. I kind of want an identity that I can carry with me, like non-binary trans man or trans-masculine person, and demi-boy just to me has more childish air because of the word boy, but for now that's something I'm comfy calling myself. Sexuality-wise, I am pansexual and panromantic, but also demisexual. I also have a strong preference for guys, but that might be because I'm dating a guy right now, and I've never been in a healthy relationship with a girl or a non-binary person. I'm very, comfortable with where I am gender-wise, and I feel like that identity is, kinda it for me, but I do still question my sexuality a lot, and for me I feel like it is something that is a bit more fluid, but for all intents and purposes, pansexual works just fine. But I also do call myself gay a lot. I love a good umbrella term. 2, share a story of you doing something that probably hinted to everyone around you that you were queer, trans, etc. I really like this question, and I kinda did a whole video on a similar topic that I can also link. That's a lot of links. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember this, guys. But a lot of the times I joke with my parents about, how did you not pick up on me being trans earlier? Because when I was about 3 years old, so, one of the first Christmases I was alive during, all I wanted for Christmas was a mustache. That was it. You could have asked me if I wanted, a toy car garage, or Barbies, or dolls, or any gender of toy, but no, I just wanted a mustache. That was all I wanted. And I got some stick-on mustaches, and there are pictures of me where I'm 3 years old in a pink onesie in my dad's arms with a giant stick-on mustache. I don't know why I wanted a mustache so badly, but I did. And now, I can't even imagine myself with facial hair. I would totally, rock some stubble if testosterone would do that for me. I don't know, it was just so odd that even 3 years old, before I could talk about gender, I was like, I want a mustache, please give me a mustache. So yeah, I do have a lot of stories about me as a kid that I look back on and I'm like, I was trans, but you can just go watch that video if you want to hear some more of them. 3, when was the first time you had an inkling you were different? The earliest that I can remember is I switched schools going into 2nd grade. So I went to a private school up until 1st grade, and then I switched schools because a lot of different reasons, but I switched schools to a public school, and the public school had a different uniform than the private school. Still had a uniform, but you know. And one of the uniform things was a jumper, and I hated jumpers. The closest I would get to the girls' uniform was a skort, which if you don't know is just shorts with a skirt on top of it, and I passed it off with well, the playground has bars that I can hang upside down on because I really like hanging upside down, and I'm not going to be wearing a jumper and hanging upside down. So that was how I passed it off, but I always wore shorts or pants. The 2 jumpers that I owned were always the last things to wear. I would only wear them if I had nothing else to wear. And of course I didn't have a way of expressing it at the time, but I always felt so different than all the other girls because I did not want to have anything to do with a jumper, and all of them were comparing their different corduroys, but wearing jumpers made me feel so dysphoric even if I didn't have the words for it at the time. But that's gender-wise. I think the first time that I realized I was different sexuality-wise was actually more about me being demisexual than me being pan. And the way that I figured that out was sleepovers. I feel like so many trans people do feel awkward at sleepovers when they're little, even if they don't know why. And for me, I did for some gender reasons as well, but everybody wanted to talk about boys, and I was like, I don't know any boys well enough to have a crush on them. Even to this day, I have had very few crushes in my life, but I actually came to terms with my pansexuality after I'd already come out as not a girl, and I don't really remember feeling different for pansexuality when I was little, because I feel like I just kind of assumed that everybody had crushes on, any gender. Like, I did see, you know, mostly straight people everywhere, but I never internalized that as being how everybody is. I don't know. The other time that I think I had an inkling of when I was different was on the playground in literally like 3rd or 4th grade, when one of the girls that I hung out with insulted a guy by saying, "Go get your period." And me being a child, I was like, you know, at the time I was like, the heck is that? So she explained it to me and I was like, does everybody get that? Because I was horrified by that prospect. I didn't want to have anything to do with that shit. And to this day, my period is one of the very, very worst dysphoric things for me. So she explained it to me and I was just like, oh my god, I am not a girl anymore. Can I please grow a penis? So that definitely made me feel like I was different because nobody else in my group seemed fazed about it. They were all just like, yeah, no, it happens to women, and like, that's a sign of womanhood. And I was just sitting there like, oh god, no. Oh, fuck no, please. Please exclude me from this. Can I go be a boy? They don't get periods. Question 4, when did you first learn about being gay, queer, trans, etc.? It was probably through my ex, actually. Throughout middle school, I unknowingly presented as very, like, butch, you know? I wore Life is Good t-shirts and like cargo shorts. So to a person that was already involved in the LGBT community, some 8th graders probably looked at me and were like, that's a lesbian. I wasn't a lesbian and I'm not a lesbian, but you know. I feel like without knowing it, I did give off like a kind of queer vibe, and my ex was actually the very first LGBT person that I met. As much as they did end up like manipulating me and just not being a healthy partner for me, I did learn a lot from them, and they did send me, you know, to a lot of resources about gender and about sexuality. So I think like 7th grade was probably when I first learned about being LGBT, and pretty much immediately I clicked with the label non-binary. I've identified it as a few different things gender-wise over the years, which I also have a video on, but I still do think it's kind of funny that the minute that I learned about gender variance, I was like, yes, hello, I am here, that is me, thank you. Number 5, who was your first queer celebrity crush? I'm not really sure because I was never really like a pop culture kid, and on top of being demisexual, I wasn't exposed to having a lot of crushes. But now I have a huge fucking crush on like teenage Anakin, when, you know, he had the long hair and the scar and he was so angsty. I have a giant crush on teenage Anakin. My boyfriend can vouch for that. But yeah, even when I find like characters or celebrities aesthetically attractive, I don't necessarily have a crush on them. Although when my emo phase was like barreling like a train straight towards me, I can say that Mikey Way, Gerard Way, Ray Toro, and Frankiera were all like mind-blowingly hot, okay? I still find all of them extremely attractive. Maybe I just have a kink for MCR. No, but I honestly feel like the only person I've ever felt a genuine, healthy, romantic connection to is my boyfriend. And finally, tag 4 people to do this. I feel like I don't have too many, like, friends. I don't think Kovu's done this yet, though, so Kovu, if you're watching this, you should do this. I'm tagging you. Is that how this works? I don't know. But in all honesty, I'd love to see any of you doing this. So if you do, leave a comment and I will totally watch that. So yeah, I'm tagging all like 13,000 of you, and you have to talk about it now. Unless you're a cishet, then like maybe don't. So that was the Pride that was the Pride Rewind tag. I hope that you enjoyed learning about my gay childhood. But goodbye. I hope that all of you are comfy with your identity and are learning to embrace yourself, and I will talk to you later, maybe.